Okay, not gonna waste your time with a lengthy intro, let's just get right to how this list is going to work. There are 3 criteria that I'm going to be using to determine who is going to be considered for this list. First, it must be animated content about D&D, and I use the terms animated and animation broadly here to cover everything from slideshow animatics to actual animation. And even so, this still narrows it down significantly, because otherwise there'd just be too many channels I'd have to cover, and I'm really only qualified, quote unquote, to cover content that I actually consume and produce, like this. Criteria 2, it must be original content. So what I mean by that is, it can't be like Reddit stories or Critical Role animations, like, you can find those easily enough by just searching them up online. There's a million of them out there. And 3, they must be the primary creator of their animated content, so they're not completely relying on third parties for their art. And this wouldn't apply if it's like a team of people behind the account, but it would apply if you're just a narrator and then you're hiring some third party to do all your art for you. Okay, next we have our different tiers. So starting with tier 5, we have the one-offers. Tier 4 are new, growing, or upcoming channels. Tier 3 are inactive, yet established D&D channels. Tier 2 are active and talented nerds. And tier 1 are my personal favorites. Okay, and one last thing before we start, here's my big disclaimer. Not only might I be missing 1 or 2 animators that meet this criteria, and I apologize in advance if I am, but these lists might not be 100% accurate anyway, and they definitely won't be accurate in like 2 years or so, so keep that in mind. I'm doing the best with what's available to me at the moment. Because at the end of the day, the goal behind this tier system that I'm making is not to grade people, really, but to showcase. This is a highlight reel, folks. All of the D&D animators that I could possibly find that meet the criteria that I set forth, I have tried to include on this list. So, without further ado, let's get right into our 5th tier, the one-offers. One-offers are folks who, for a multitude of possible reasons, decided to make a very small number of D&D animated videos and then moved on. These could be art students, bored teenagers, already established creators who decided randomly to venture into D&D content, or perhaps new creators who wanted to give it a try and experiment. Hell, maybe they didn't even move on and are just on hiatus and I'm being a dick. The point is, whatever the case may be, there is no shame in only doing 1 or 2 videos. Animation is freaking hard, man. All these videos still took a lot of work to make, and I believe that many of us still crave more animated D&D content, yeah? Right? So who cares if they're one-offs or unfinished or whatever? Content is content. Now, there's quite a few of them, so I'm gonna try and highlight each of these creators in tier 5 quickly, and if any of them interest you, the links to their videos, as with everybody, will be below in the description. Alright, let's start. Pajama Jedi. She's made a variety of content, but she also made a D&D story cartoon in full color. It's funny and charming and worth checking out. Ozaworld. Primarily a musician, he made a couple animated D&D songs in 2019 that are catchy and fun to watch. Dragon Shenanigans. He made 1 really good D&D story that's in full color. Sinful Corruption. She's an artist with a cute style who dipped her toes in D&D animation with a Meet the Party video and a couple animated songs and vines as well. Safiras Art. An amazing artist who frequently makes speed paints and streams, she made a few D&D related videos, including an animated song and a couple stories. Definitely check them out. Monchy Tales, a one-eyed goblin that has a variety of short animations on their channel and programmed their own puppet animation software. Though I place them in tier 5, they're actually pretty active, so it's not unreasonable to think that they might make more D&D stories at some point. Darkstone Commentary, a cool guy that has an original animated series on his channel, along with lots of other content. He was part of a collab I participated in as well, and you can watch his D&D story along with mine here. Sam Misfit, he made 2 D&D stories along with a couple other interesting animations, and they're pretty entertaining. Adventure Dork, an artist with a unique sketchy art style. He's made a couple D&D stories worth checking out. Milkshots D&D. He made a D&D video a while back that had some really striking colors and cool imagery, and I really liked the narration as well. Zedrin, an established animator whose Hero the Den series is really good, and he also made a couple of D&D stories as well. Sir Aaron, a super talented dude who makes a plethora of content, he made a really cool D&D story a while back. Protocap. He animated a scene from a game he'd done with friends, and it is to this day one of the funniest D&D stories I've ever seen. Hollowtail, also featured on Aiden's collab video, his D&D story is heartwarming. He has a ton of other content on his channel as well. Emmy Riccio, a well-known and incredibly talented animator. She recently made a cute video about her D&D character. The Weekend Geek, a variety animation channel with a ton of content, but just so happens to have one D&D story. Take a look. Dabb Rude, a very talented artist that made a music video for her D&D character's love story. Not Kelsey. She animated this amazing D&D story, one of my favorites. Shyguard, a small channel with a single, earnestly charming D&D story that I felt was worth a shout out. Oriri Roi? Another small channel. This person made a D&D story for their storyboard class. It's really well done. Socks, a super talented artist with 2 D&D stories out. Both are oozing personality and style. Movie Mow Down, a streamer and animator who decided to try for a very Puffin Forest style D&D story. It's actually very well done, and according to him, Puffin apparently liked it as well. Mercenaries of Mischief, a live play streaming channel primarily. They did make at least one pretty darn good animated D&D story a while back. Tom Sutton, they seem to have more videos on their channel a while back, but privated a lot of them, so all they have left now is one really well animated D&D story. Whew, okay, well, you know, that didn't take as long as I thought. Let's move right along to tier 4. This would be new, growing, and upcoming. This tier is significantly smaller because it's really specific, but these are creators who've either just begun producing D&D animated content, or they have content in the works from what I know. This tier is higher up, not because of subjective things like quality or charisma, but because they seem to have decided to focus on D&D and other tabletop RPGs specifically, and are actively working on content for it. The only thing they're missing is the backlog, right? So if the larger creators are the backbone of the community, then the newbies are the guts that fill it out. And I believe it's super important to encourage newer and growing creators, as starting out can be both scary and demoralizing at times. Plus, again, who doesn't want to see the community grow? Who doesn't want more content, right? So let's take a brief look at some newer D&D animators. We'll start with Viktor D20. I had him on episode 11 of Podcasts and Players, so you might recognize him. Back then, he was making videos for a setting of Angoria and writing a book for it, which I believe he's since finished and is available for purchase. Afterwards, he made the leap into making animated videos about D&D stories and his favorite official D&D setting, Mystara. He's still new to it, but he's super active and getting better. Tabaxi Cafe. This is one of those situations where there's no content yet as of the posting of this video, but I can vouch for her. This person actually plays with me and other D&D content creators in the Antumber stream on Captain Cheeky's channel. She plays Silas, the lion-like Tabaxi seen briefly in my last animation. She's working on an animated D&D series called Tabaxi Cafe, hence the name, and I've seen some of her assets behind the scenes, and I'm telling you, you won't want to miss it. Outside of that, I don't know much else about it, so I'll leave a link to her channel, and whenever it starts releasing, we'll all find out together. Artifex Animation. Artifex Animations was a channel that I had seen before making this list, but didn't include them because the stuff that they had made up until recently was all fan stuff for other people. However, they just released as of the recording of this, a Curse of Strahd fanimation that they made all on their own, and they're so dang good and they work so hard that I just have to put them on here. Please, give Artifex Animations a look. Rymac, a very cool kobold, who makes music and remixes, but is working on a cartoon series as well at the moment, and their art is so good, and you don't want to miss this one either when it releases, so please, go subscribe to them as well. Pack Tactics. I recently discovered them on a list of D&D creators I found in a comment section, and they make educational videos on how to use spells, features, combos in 5e D&D, and they're pretty new at it, but they're being consistent so far. The narration is fun, and the presentation's colorful. Go show them some love. Item Pouch. This is another channel whose creator is working on a D&D series that has yet to be released, but again, I've seen the assets. This guy actually updates his progress and stuff on Twitter. You can see some of the behind the scenes stuff that he's putting up on there. Super talented. So if you're interested in investing a sub into his channel to see what comes from his hard work, link will be below. Smash Daddies. Relatively new, they've only got 2 videos up, but both are funny D&D stories, and it seems like these will be their focus going forward. So I'm hedging my bets here. I think that they're going to be making more in the future. It might just take them a little while. Their videos have great use of atmosphere and they're well worth watching. Wystle while you work. Now, Wystle is not a new content creator, but she might be an upcoming D&D animator. See, she has these really well-told D&D stories up on her channel, and the only reason she's not higher up is that her content is primarily speed paints, which are great, by the way. She even gave me some tips on drawing eyes in one of her streams. And that's another thing, she streams D&D with a group on Twitch. So she's so close to being in tier 2, but she just needs to make the leap into animation. And Wystle, if you're listening to this, you might think I'm pressuring you. And you're right, I am. It's time. It's time to join us. All right, we've had meetings about this. All the big D&D animators got together, and we're like, how are we gonna get Wystle to like start Walt Disneying up in here? You know, when's our show coming? Okay, I'm just saying, give us something to work with. All right, that is for people listening. That's a joke. That didn't actually happen. Please go check out Wystle's channel. There's one more thing I want to mention, and this is after the fact, but I am now participating in something that Wystle and her sister and Joe-Cat all sort of set up called Bards for Bards. And it's a month-long charity streaming drive that they're doing all throughout the month of April. They did it last year, and they're doing it this year to help people affected by COVID-19, specifically like performers, musicians, people who can't play live shows to make that income that they usually depend on. This is to help them. So if you're interested in learning more about this and seeing all the cool content that we got with all the different creators that are partnered and working on this, please go check out the Bards for Bards channel, or if you want to just go find Wystle's stuff, and she's going to be linking that stuff and promoting it basically all month. So check that out. Thank you again, Wystle, for having me aboard that. Honestly, I feel really bad for having you in Tier 4. Just make some animations. I want to bump you up, please. We have Tier 3, the currently inactive. Now, these are creators that might not be wholly inactive on their accounts. I mean, they might actually be making stuff, but they're inactive in producing animated D&D content specifically, after already producing like 3 or more videos and sort of establishing themselves in that way. Why they are inactive, just as with Tier 5, could be due to any number of reasons. Maybe they're just on hiatus, or busy with school, or going through real life shit and just can't put the time in to make more animated D&D content. Some very well may have moved on, but the key difference here is that they've already made quite a few more D&D animations than like one-offers or newbies, right? They got a backlog here. They did the work, so let's give them a look, shall we? Brachyzoid. Now, he's made 3 D&D videos and recently started posting VODs from his Twitch. He primarily resides on Twitter, posting art of juicy goblins and thick halflings, and does a D&D stream with his friends. In fact, those folks were also featured in Joe-Cat's crap guide to DMing. Maddie Carl. Maddie's an animation student whose channel is, in their own words, a funhouse for their imagination to go wild, and that ain't no lie. While their YouTube exists as a variety channel for their animations and other work, Maddie has made numerous D&D videos. Recently, they've been focusing on school, but I have every confidence that they'll be back with more D&D content in the future. Kane Quo, a veteran of D&D content, made a couple different series on his channel. Monsters Misguided tries to reimagine classic D&D monsters for your campaigns, and Table Technician explores new ways to implement rules and other features into your games. Zard is pretty good, and even though he stopped making those series on his YouTube, you can still find him working on his new webcomic series, By the Book, which you can find on his Patreon. The Perfect Failure, a super talented guy. He made 3 D&D stories around a year ago, and they're all really good. He's also got one of those like chill voices that are just perfect for narration. Like, I actually got to chat with him not too long ago, and while he hasn't made a new D&D video in a while, I wouldn't be surprised if he picked it back up again. Miniature Mashup. This fine gentleman makes videos about miniatures primarily, hence the name, but also has quite a few D&D stories under his belt. His nerdy DM voice he uses in those stories is actually really fun to listen to, and his peripheral content, like movie reviews, are also really enjoyable. Go check him out. Huffle Animations. Huffle's an angel, and y'all need to show her channel some much needed love, okay? She's got a bunch of animated storytime videos as well as D&D stories, and they're all adorable. Go sub to her. Go! Modstin Pierce. I found the super talented animator on Newgrounds. They made a series called Bell's Library, and although they stepped away to focus on other things, the quality's pretty damn good and worth checking out on their channel. Don't Stop Thinking. This guy has some super easy to digest instructional videos about making characters in D&D 5e. I even used some of them before. Also, that's such a nice channel name, right? Like, don't become complacent or always keep learning, you know? He stopped producing those videos a while back, but his backlog is so extensive that I think there's more than enough to kind of get lost in. He's definitely earned himself a break by now. Shiney FX. This is a Star Wars content channel that has 3 3D animated episodes of their like Star Wars D&D game. You know, being 3D is already kind of rare in this genre, so the fact that it's Star Wars makes it even more of a gem to discover. They've got a ton of other content as well, so if you're a Star Wars fan, I'm sure you'll find something you love. All right, now we're getting to the real meat and potatoes here, okay? We're at the point where we've got to the well-established, active D&D animators. This tier exists to recognize the time, dedication and pure love for the subject matter that these folks put in. Size of channel and how new they are doesn't matter because the quantity, quality, and drive are apparent to anyone with eyes and ears. So let's take a gander at these freaking nerds, eh? Cammy Cat. So this is a little embarrassing. I actually almost skipped her because I thought she was just a musician, but it turns out she's also responsible for all the animations on her videos as well. Consider that. She's so skilled at music that it nearly overshadowed her skill at animation. Her content is wide-ranging as she's been active for over a decade, but she's written several original D&D music videos. Go to her channel and give your ears a treat. Nami Starry. Nami is an artist with a variety of speed paints and animations, many of which are D&D related. As I was writing the script for this video, she released a new one, so I was gonna have her in tier 3 and then bumped her back up to tier 2 because I'm like, well, I guess she's still making them. I'm telling you guys, the tiers aren't perfect, but I'm trying my best here. Anyway, I think you'll all enjoy Nami's videos, especially her art style, so go explore her content for some goodies. Silkworm. Silkworm is a game developer as well as an animator, and makes animated clips for various D&D streams, some of which have big YouTubers like Lily Pichu. Not only is their style exceedingly cute, but they also really know how to convey the dialogue in a way that makes the characters look alive. They may be making animations for others, but since they seem to be getting paid for it and are so damn good at it, I had to include them on this list. Reba Derps. Reba is a great animator who tells hilarious D&D stories about a skeevy warlock, elderly barbarian, and a paladin so obsessed with smiting evil he often crosses the line into murder hobo territory. For real, the fact that I remembered those characters over other animators on this list should tell you that her content is absolutely worth the watch. Make sure you check out the video about the duck, that's my favorite one, it's so good. Demonac. I can't make this list without including one of the oldest content creators on the platform. Like seriously? This dude was the D&D story animator for years before many of the more familiar creators started their channels. The first episode of his long-running Tales from My D&D campaign series came out 8 freaking years ago. As of recording this, he's at 59 episodes in that series. Friends, if you're looking for content, Demonac has you covered. Hell, he's had us covered for years, so I think a little recognition by the larger community is past due at this point. Let's get this champion to 10k subscribers. Yeah, come on, let's get him. Cross-platform action squad. Since we're talking about old-timers in terms of the D&D animation genre, we also can't ignore these folks. As the name implies, they make all sorts of content, but just like Demonac, they've been animating their D&D stories for years. They are much less frequent with their animations, with new ones releasing years apart at times, but holy hell are they hysterical. 100% worth the wait, and 100% worth watching their playlist of all of them. Spoon Staff Stories. Let's shift gears here. We've got a relatively new channel that has been pumping out new episodes of their animated series retelling the events of a Curse of Strahd campaign. Well, gosh, that sounds familiar. Personally, I love seeing more Curse of Strahd stuff out there, and these folks have been very consistent. If you want more like narrated, detailed version of that module, definitely check them out.
Make animated videos on Dungeons & Dragons and tell the stories, online tabletop RPGs. And
I do as well.
Joe Cat, a man of a million talents. Joe is one driven dude. Not only does he have the crap guides to D&D, which are some of the best comedic D&D content on YouTube, period, but he also streams and animates for a ton of other stuff. The work ethic he has, whatever this guy's on, I want some, damn it. He also just seems blessed in that like most things he sets his mind to end up turning out incredible. Now, I have a strong feeling he's going to be taking a break from D&D content for a while now that the crap guides are done, which would put him in tier 3, technically. But seeing as he asked me if I wanted to be in his final crap guide as one of the many cameos, the first time I ever spoke to him, which actually made me almost cry on a Discord call, I'm making the executive decision to firmly place him here in tier 2. Thank you, Joe. Seriously, thank you. That was one of the nicest things a bigger creator could do for a much smaller creator like me. Real king shit right there. Flying Fox Girl, a fantastic storyteller and artist of enviable quality. FFG has plenty of fun and silly D&D animations. One of the things I like about hers is that they often talk about in-game romances that result in precarious outcomes. I almost never roleplay that kind of thing, and to see that comedic side of those types of interactions is really interesting to me. On top of that, her meme game is on point. I'd call her the D&D meme queen, but she shares that title with the next creator. Tori draws stuff. Okay, now I'm pretty sure these two are like friends. And Tori, in addition to having extremely sharp comedic timing, also plays a mean viola. Yeah, she'd be playing freaking viola up in here. That's alongside her D&D stories and Vine compilations. Honestly, it's not fair that these two get to hog all the funny to themselves. Leave a little bit for dopes like me, please. Thank you. Anyway, yeah, go check out both their channels. They're both very fucking cool. Noob Mister. Now, this channel caters to a certain demographic that I am personally not a part of, but I still have to give them props for animating their D&D stories in 3D. I mean, it seems that they're using Gmod to accomplish it, which is oddly rare among D&D animators, and those edits are really good too. I don't have much else to say other than if, in addition to D&D, you're into furry stuff, this might be a channel you could enjoy. The Mighty Dungeon. This channel is run by a YouTuber called Kugo the Mighty, who I've never heard of, but apparently has a decent following already and likes to play D&D with his friends. The Mighty Dungeon is another great example of funny D&D clips compiled into a story-like narrative, and Kugo does it well. In particular, I'd recommend his How Anime Ruined My D&D Game series, as I'm a sucker for characters with like obvious anime analogs and hammy acting. It's really good. Blaine Simple. Blaine is a very capable animator and storyteller and consistently puts out content on the regular. Everything from D&D stories, instructional videos, to just personal musings about the game, all animated. And I must confess, it was Blaine who gave me the idea for this video. Recently, he released his own tier list, and while I enjoyed the video, I found myself thinking it didn't go far enough. So instead of whining about it in the comments, which would have been unproductive and pointless, I decided to make my own tier list. Insert a Futurama joke here. So thank you, Blaine. Making this video forced me to learn how to edit in something other than an animation program, and now my seething anger with your tier list that caused me countless sleepless nights crying in the corner of my room has subsided. You do owe me money for a new TV though, since I had thrown it into the wall in a fit of rage after watching your video, but you know, you give me the money when you can. I accept Bitcoin and wire transfers. And finally, we're at the last of the tiers, Tier 1, my personal favorites. This is a tier that, unlike the other ones, which are sort of categories to sort of organize everybody, this is a 100% subjective tier. It's completely just my opinion. There's nothing to do with the quality or anything like that. Only criteria is my personal preference. Though you'll see that most of the people on this tier will actually meet the standard for Tier 2. But without any delay, it is my absolute delight and honor to share these creators with you all. Ink. We're starting off strong with my boy Ink, who used to go by Artistic Rubbish. He's been going through a rebranding recently, but he was on the podcast, if you remember. It was episode 15, and he's an exceptionally talented and humorous D&D animator. This young man specializes in short comedic animations that poke fun at certain tropes within D&D games, though he's branched out into longer, more serious D&D stories as well. Also, the mad lad for real gifted me Minecraft after like 9 years of not playing it, and I just like mentioned it and then he gave it to me. That's just the bribe I need to put him first on the Tier 1 list. No, okay, he didn't bribe me, but like how fucking nice is that, right? Like, if not for his awesome content, you should just check him out for being a cool guy. Captain Cheeky, you ever wonder what hot cocoa would sound like if it were a person/sentient Aussie raccoon? Well, look no further than Cheeky, whose soothing oration is one of the best parts of his videos. He streams a ton, and he is the mastermind behind the Antumbra D&D game that I recently animated for. Besides, he's incredibly hardworking as an animator himself. Please, do yourself a favor, just go watch his Spellbound series, you will not regret that. Z Bashu, a god amongst mortal men. Z is the pinnacle, the top dog, the Don, the maestro, the judge, jury, and executioner. But enough about his side gigs, alright? This guy is pretty much my hero, and I will die happy if I can reach even a fraction of his level of talent. His claim to internet fame is definitely his animated spellbook series, and his D&D stories are some of my all-time favorites with how crazy good they look. If you subscribe or are subscribed to him, it was not your doing. He simply willed it to happen. Be thankful and take the lessons he teaches us through his videos to heart. All praise thee, all praise thee. The Toast Thief. Forging a new path, few have traveled, this creator is a programmer by day and pixel artist by night. He's the most recent guest I've had on the podcast as of recording this video, and his dedication to producing funny and interesting D&D stories with a unique aesthetic flair is really something to admire, folks. The best part is that you can actually see his growth as both an artist and a storyteller, as his stories have gotten progressively funnier and better looking as time goes on. Like, you can see it, it's awesome. Also, his subscriber count is criminally low, so please, if you could all swarm his page and sub en masse, you'd be correcting one of the universe's biggest injustices and gaining a new content creator for your feed at the same time. Win-win. Vitamin Dieter. Hey, speaking of criminally low sub counts, let's not forget the only guy cool enough besides myself to be on 2 Podcasts and Players episodes. Dieter is not only an extremely talented D&D animator with technical experience in a multitude of art and editing programs, and a more than pleasant variety of animated content to choose from, but he's one of the most wholesome people I've ever had the pleasure of calling my friend. I'm pretty sure I've never heard him swear in the year that I've known him. I mean, he's the guy that played Comet in the Antumbra video for reference. So, you know he's too pure for this world. But you know what's not too pure? That subscribe button on his page. It's not pure enough to be absolutely ravaged by a cascade of new followers. Oh yeah, that subscribe button has been naughty. Someone should go teach it a lesson. I can't do it. Okay, but in all seriousness, go check him out. He's awesome.
Puffin Forrest, the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Yeah, you all know Puffin Forrest by now, right? Okay, he's a pioneer with this genre video, and his narration is chef's kiss. He pretty much popularized the genre. His stories helped get a lot of us animators also into animating here on YouTube, and he's done a bunch of different kinds of D&D / tabletop RPG videos, and he's just all around a cool dude. Even if you already know about him, which most of you do, it doesn't hurt to go back through his backlog and just watch his videos again for a good hearty chuckle. Aiden. I think Aiden is a pretty cool guy. He draws funny ha-has and doesn't afraid of anything. The most iconic cycloptic being since, well, the Cyclops. Aiden is one of those D&D animators that has a way of letting their natural humor show through their art. He has a variety of D&D animations, from short little skits to fully colored, more dramatic D&D stories. His videos consistently get me to laugh, and I will always be thankful for his support of me early on. Love you, Birdman. Dingo Doodles. If you don't know who Dingo Doodles is, well, honestly, I find that highly unlikely. I consider her to be one of the foremost pillars of this community, and owe her a big thank you for all the support she's shown me this past year. Dingo is one of the most ambitious people I've ever met, and her Fool's Gold D&D series is more akin to actual gold, with how lovely it is to watch. If by some minuscule chance you don't know who she is, fix that immediately. I cannot overstate this. If you watch this entire video and are interested in D&D animated stories, go sub to her now and watch all of her content. Do it. Crunkte Tunes. I'll always have a soft spot in my shriveled up heart for Crunk's channel, if for no other reason than she agreed to be my first ever guest on the podcast, but luckily that isn't even close to the only reason, as she's a bomb-ass artist and skilled animator. She created an animated D&D series called Poino Island, along with several other miscellaneous D&D stories you can view on her channel. I humbly request you all go to her channel and show her some support. There's not nearly enough views on her videos compared to the sheer effort that goes into making them. And more injustices that need to be corrected, come on. Just Jackdaw. Now, this lovable spectator is also someone I feel like needs no introduction, but for those out of the loop, this absolute unit is not only one of the most prolifically skilled illustrators I've ever bore witness to, but he's also one of the most supportive artists I've ever bore witness to. What I'm trying to say is he's genuinely a great guy, on top of being so stupidly talented that it makes me wonder why any of us are even trying. Jokes aside, his content includes Pokemon and D&D monster mashups, reimagining existing monsters in different art styles, as well as a few animated stories to boot. Join me in my artist envy and give his channel a look, please. Eldritch_Sugar. My respect for Eldritch is only rivaled by my fear of her. She's currently in college learning how to art better, and somehow still has time to make some wickedly high quality D&D animations. Just because she can. And what the hell are any of you gonna do to stop her? You can't. Nobody can, you fools! This magical girl abomination from the far realm has released several music videos, and also, by the way, happened to play Adelaide in the Antumbra animation that I made. If you don't want your mind to succumb to her unnatural corruptive influence on our universe, y'all better go subscribe to her channel to protect yourselves. Don't say I didn't warn you. Total Party Wipe. Here's one more very underappreciated channel. Total Party Wipe has been consistently releasing very well-made animated episodes of their D&D game. The audio comes straight from the actual game, it seems, and then they edit it down to a manageable amount where they animate over it. Now, not only is that impressive by itself, because that's a lot of work. But they really nail the facial expressions and body language too. This channel is so worth a sub. I know by now you're all tired of hearing me say that, but these folks really have something special here, and they gotta get a shout out. They just have to. ABD Illustrates. This absolute beast of an artist works with his friends in a company called Shrieking Wizard Co. He does speed paints, a few streams. Oh, and did I mention he and his team make a fully colored, amazingly illustrated and animated D&D drama called High Hopes, Low Rolls? Because they do, and it's fantastic, and you should all go check them out, like right now. There you have it, folks. If you count them out, that's 68 creators that I just went over. And there were more out there that I could have gone over, but I had to narrow it down just to get to this list. But that's all 5 tiers. Huh, that's weird. There's a tier 0. I don't remember putting that there. Well, who am I missing? Oh, I know what this one's for. It's for number 69. That's right. Yours truly, motherfuckers. What, you didn't think I'd leave me out of this, did ya? Fuck that, I worked too hard on this shit. I'm Cool Boy Shane, and I make animated D&D cartoons, and I've been at it for over 2 years now. So if you're seeing this video and you don't know who I am, take a look at the rest of my channel. I have a Curse of Strahd cartoon series I'm working on, as well as a podcast where I interview other D&D loving content creators, and I also make music and occasionally release that as well. If you want to, subscribe, comment, share these videos with your friends. It really helps me out, and it's gonna make you look super cool too. Just saying. And anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. This has gone on way too freaking long. Let me know who your favorite creators are, and yeah, that's it. I love you. Mwah, bye-bye.